Welcome back to the channel. Listen, I just want to say this right quick. You know, if God has given you a promise about a spouse, right? If God has given you a promise about a spouse, but he was very specific in like a little bit of detail. For example, if he says that your spouse is not going to come until you finish school, right? And say you're in school right now and you have like another year left, you best believe that God is not going to change his mind. If God says your spouse is not going to come until you finish school, you best believe, and if you are somebody who don't know who your spouse is, you best believe that God gives a specific promise simply because he knows the tactic of the enemy. For example, say if you are in school right now and you see someone trying to make waves at you or something like that, and it doesn't feel right, you best believe it's because it's not right. All right, because if God says your spouse isn't going to come until after schooling, and somebody is trying to make moves at you and you're in school and all that, just know that this may not be from the Lord. Okay, and the reason why God gives us these specific promises, especially in regards to marriage, not everybody, he doesn't do this with everybody, but there's some people he's very specific. He'll tell you the nationality of your spouse. He'll tell you that you're going to marry an Indian man or Indian woman. Okay, so anybody who isn't Indian isn't for you. Okay, because he knows how the enemy attacks kingdom marriage like nobody's business. Okay, not everybody goes through these things like you do, right? When it comes down to kingdom marriage and God ordained marriages, but because he knows the enemy comes after these marriages like so much, he has to be specific. Okay, so God will even tell you the nationality of your spouse. He'll straight up tell you who your person is. A lot of you guys know who your person is. He'll tell you little details just so you are aware, because the enemy loves to send these counterfeits. The enemy loves to ruin kingdom marriages and send these counterfeits that is not from God. All right, so if God has been very specific, sometimes, listen, some people's spouse is waiting for a green light, and some people's spouse is waiting for God. Listen, just like how God speaks to you, if God speaks to you and say, hey, you listen, your spouse is not going to come until you finish school, you best believe that God will tell your spouse, don't approach, do not approach until this time or until this year. Okay, just like how God spoke to Mary and told Mary a thing. Okay, God will speak to your spouse and tell them a thing. Okay, because there needs to be some alignment. Think about it. If God speaks to you and say, hey, listen, your spouse isn't gonna come until you finish school, and then this guy who is really your spouse come when you're in school, you're going to reject them because that's not what God had said. So there needs to be an alignment on both end, on your end and on their end. Okay, so just know, if God has been very specific to you when it comes on to when they're supposed to come, make sure you're not like expecting something different, because God is not changing his mind. He ain't. When God is very specific, is that he wants you to identify that it is him. When it does happen, he wants you to know that I did this because I said these specific things, and then it was supposed to happen in this order. All right, so guys, be careful, watch out for the enemy's scheme and his plans, because he's all about ruining kingdom marriage, because kingdom marriages is a game changer, and he does not want that to happen. All right, guys, take care.